Hi, welcome to what is going to be a little kind of lovely little Pilates session where we focus on exercises that I do that I find really useful for keeping my lower back happy, keeping my shoulders happy. So it's a really spine focused little workout, and I know some of you have been talking about how you've been having different things going on in your back and in your hips. So kind of without further ado, we'll get going. But it's useful to have either a cushion or a Pilates ball. Could be a yoga block, but they might be a little bit hard. And or some sort of stretchy band, which you can also substitute for like a pair of leggings or a jumper that you don't mind stretching, even a dressing gown strap as well. So starting off with your feet about distance with the kind of the outer edges of your hips. We'll start with some roll downs. So inhaling, lifting the arms all the way up to the ceiling. Not being too prescriptive about it at the moment. Interlocking your fingertips, pressing up towards the ceiling. And let's see if we can get a kind of little shrug going through the rib cage. So kind of almost like slightly snaking. And it might, it might look slightly different on you because everyone's spine is different. And I'm even kind of like slightly treading through the feet and then pushing up even a little bit more, unlacing the hands, pushing up one arm just a little bit like a cat climbing a ladder, and then the other arm, and then the other arm. So just checking as you're doing this, it's like an sensation, and that we're not like excessively bending into the back, but we're keeping the back of the body long. Let's spend another kind of 3 to 4 seconds here. And then releasing the arms down either side of the body, maybe take a couple very nice like little juicy shoulder rolls, and then inhaling to stand tall, exhaling to nod your chin forwards, and I have the sense of actually going over something rather than kind of squashing my collarbones. Let the head hang heavy for a moment, and then slow-mo. So this is pretty slow. That's what slow-mo means. We're going to start rolling down to meet the floor. As we do this, take a couple little pauses, get like to a certain distance, and then take a pause, maybe here. Take an inhale in through the nose, exhale out through the mouth, and then we go a little bit further. And as we get further, checking in that your head, neck and shoulders are completely relaxed. And I quite like to have a little kind of style it out moment. So as I roll down, I might even take a little sway into it, but you can stick with the kind of straight down the way, letting the head hang heavy. We get to the bottom of the hanging forward fold. I would suggest kind of soft knees for the moment. So bending the knees kind of like 3-4 inches. You've got the belly and the thighs kind of melting and smushing towards each other. Take a deep inhale in through the nose, and then either out through the nose or through the mouth. Soften the knees a little bit so that the tailbone starts to dip, and then we'll roll up really, really nice and slowly. As we roll up, we're just kind of building the spine back up on top, letting the shoulders, I was going to call them shoulders, the shoulders shrug back into place. And again, not too prescriptive, couple little rolls of the shoulders. And let's do that again. Inhale, lift the arms up. Reach up, lift your ribcage, a little kind of pull from side to side again. And then we'll bring the arms down either side, tiny bit faster this time, rolling down through the spine. We're kind of halfway down, we're midway down, we're at the full extent of our little roll. And then in our kind of forwards fold, weight into the midfoot, bend into your knees so that the hips start to sink down. Head is still kind of, nose is heading towards the knees, and then we'll bring the legs towards straight. And let's do that about kind of 4 more times. So inhale to bend and soften into the knees, exhale to press towards straight. And let's do, I've lost count already, 3 more. Inhale and exhale, and it doesn't need to be kind of a big motion, depends on whether you've just got a nap or whether it's kind of the end of the day or whether it's midday. 2 more. Inhale to bend, exhale to lengthen. And last one, inhale to bend, we'll exhale to lengthen, and this time we're going to roll up on almost straight legs. So rolling up with those nearly straight legs, so kind of micro bent position with the knees looking almost straight. Roll the shoulders as you get up on top, and then we're going to stand onto our mats if you're not already there. coming down in whatever way you like, but I'm going to use a kind of contemporary Pilates sit down, aka moving down into a squat, moving down into a squat, moving down into a squat, and then either my fingers can help me get down, or I can just fall back in some way, or just go pa. All right, so sitting on top of the sit bones for a moment, find those little like knobbly bits at the bottom of edge of the pelvis. Inhale to sit tall. Exhale, push the feet away from you slightly, curving around your back. So we're thinking here about sending the sit bones underneath us, like we're kind of sitting on a conveyor belt and the mat is taking our I have a teacher that says like taking your underwear away, which is a bit weird. And then keeping the C shape, we're going to reach a little bit forward. So imagine that you've got a ball kind of on your belly, so you can't actually go all the way onto your knees, but you're in this rounded position, and then we'll roll back again. Let's do kind of 3 or 4 of these. So it's an inhale to sit forwards and an exhale to roll slightly back. And this can be smaller or bigger depending on how you're feeling. You can have the feet flat into the floor. And I'm always thinking about kind of that gentle curve through the spine, known as the C curve. And your belly is trying to stay away from the ball. So you might have an imaginary ball, you might have a real ball. What is reality? Anyway, last one, inhale to sit forwards. And then we'll exhale to roll back through the spine. And I'm going to relax my shoulders a little bit here, just to kind of check that, I don't actually need to hold a lot of tension here. And as we roll back, you might want to use your hands on the back of the thighs to eke out this last bit. So we're going really, 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 really super slowly. And then we find our way down to the ground. Getting ready for a little bridge roll, but first you might want to take a little knock of the knees from side to side. And I say knock, it's just a kind of letting the weight of the knees fall from side to side. And then drawing back into the center, spread down into the toes, inhale. As we exhale, we're going to start tucking and tilting the tailbone. So not tucking and tilting, basically. We start to tilt the tailbone towards the ceiling until the lower back starts to imprint itself softly. From here, begin to peel the edges of your bum away from the mats. And then we peel up a little bit more, we peel up a little bit more. We find ourselves in this glute bridge, pausing for a moment to spread down into the feet. We'll inhale at the top and exhale to roll down. And as you roll down, we're laying each part, each segment of the spine down bone by bone by bone by bone by bone. So nice and slowly, maybe even feeling the work of the abdominals. We let the pelvis release into neutral, so you'll have a little arch or even just a little softness in the lower back. Inhale to prepare. And exhale, again, we start to tilt the tailbone towards the sky. And I should say we're tucking the pelvis really. And then semantics, and then we lift the pelvis off the floor, peeling the edges of the spine. This time we lift the hands towards the ceiling. And then keep reaching the arms back behind as you keep the pelvis high. Shoulders can glide up towards the ears. And then reach through your fingertips, and at the same time, start to gently peel your spine down towards the floor. And again, we're moving that kind of segment by segment sensation, trying to make sure that the bum is the last thing to come down. Hands come down either side. Let's do that one more time. Inhale to prepare, exhale to roll, to peel through the spine. Really kind of paying attention to and like reveling in the detail of what's happening here in the body. We lift the pelvis towards the ceiling a little bit more. Think about slightly tucking. So let's bring our kind of hands towards the top of our butt cheeks and gently guide the butt cheeks away from us. So this is kind of the shape that we're looking for in the body. And the shape is only there so that we can feel the muscles engaging in a certain way. Lift the hands up, reach them behind you, glide your shoulders to the ears. And then lower the pelvis down by rolling through the spine little bit by little bit by little bit. We let the pelvis completely release, and then this time we're going to circle the arms down into a T shape. So we have our arms either side of us. Let the knees fall across the left hand side, the weight of the thighs carry you across. And then using the strength of your right waistline, start to drag your knees back towards the center. It's quite soft and subtle, but it can feel a little bit, it can also feel quite powerful. Let's take the knees across to the right hand side, letting the weight of the thighs drop, and then drag your left waist back to the center. Inhale, knees go across to the left. Exhale, pulling the right waist back through the center. And we'll continue here for about another 20 seconds or so. So I particularly like to use the exhale to draw the legs back in. And you can roll through an imprint, which means that as you roll, you're going to be bringing the lower back down towards the floor, or you can roll through a neutral spine, which means that you're rolling back and you're letting the lower back be really, really light. Try out both ways and see kind of like what feels better for your back, what feels better for your spine. We've got another 5 or so seconds. Obviously, I'm counting in my head. You got 3 and 2 and 1. All right, drawing the knees into the center of the chest, hugging them in closely. Little rock from right to left, massaging the lower back into the ground. And then we'll place both feet back down onto the floor. Bring the hands behind the head, so interlace fingertips. Lay the head back, take a little kind of right to left, almost like you're just leaning and guiding the head from side to side. And then inhaling to prepare. As we exhale, we're going to depress the belly down towards the floor, gently imprint the lower back, and lift up head, neck, and shoulders. Inhale to come back down, and exhale to lift. So it's a really, really small movement, a little bit of essentially what is flexion at the front edge of the body. So I find it quite useful to think about keeping a space between my chin and my chest. And I'm not kind of staring directly at my crotch as I come up, you know, as tempting as that may be. But I'm actually kind of skimming the gaze a little bit more to the upper mid-thighs, just over the knees. We'll do another 2 here. And let's make this the last one. Inhaling to prepare, exhaling to lift up, to pause, widen those arms slightly in case you're hiding your face. Draw the elbows upwards and away. We hold here for 10 seconds. 9, and I am in a gentle imprint here. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, lift your left leg into tabletop. Inhale to prepare. As you exhale, roll and twist the body across to that left knee, keeping your hips steady so the hips don't move. Inhale back to center. And exhale, little twist. Inhale back to center. That's 2. We're going to go for 10. And 3. And twist. And 4. That's it. And twist. And 5. So a real kind of gentle, it's gentle, but it's, you can make it quite powerful in its own way, depending on how kind of far you're reaching into your range, how you're breathing. We're on 6. And 7. That's it. And 8. Can we kind of feel that motion with every single breath? And 9. That's it. Last one. 10. Pause there for a moment. Extend your right arm out. Slide it past your left leg. Press your forearm into your thigh and your thigh into your forearm. We hold here for 10, 9, 8. Keeping the hips still. 6. Maybe lift your shoulders a little bit more off the floor. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, beautiful. We go across to the other side. So lifting the right knee into tabletop position. I am noticing that occasionally I say stuff that sounds good but doesn't really mean anything. You know, like feel the motion on every breath. Well, no, it does mean something. Anyway, maybe it'll mean something to you. Take an inhale to prepare. Exhale to twist across to that right knee. Inhale back to the center. And again, exhale to twist. So really what I'm trying to get you to find is that moment of connection where we're not thinking too much about the reps. We do have about kind of 7 left. But what we are doing is being so involved in each movement and each moment that we get a deeper understanding of our body through what we're doing. I think we've got another 4 left. Coming back down, and 3. Like, I'm really noticing a difference on this side, and 2. And I'm like, oh, my neck is starting to over engage. Can I relax it? Last 1. We pause there. We expand our left forearm out to the outer edge of that right thigh. We pause here for 10 seconds, trying to hug the shoulders away from the floor. We've got another 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We come all the way back down. Hug the knees into the chest, and then bring your knees into tabletop position. All right, hands either side of you on the floor, and this might be a nice place actually to have a cushion behind your head or your little ball if you have one. Inhale to prepare. As you exhale, take your leg on a 90-degree angle and lower the toe towards the floor. And then we do the same thing with the other leg, nice and slowly. Now, the main idea here is that we're keeping the hips and the torso pretty still, so that we're able to kind of distinguish between movement of the leg and movement of the hip. And it's about kind of finding stability and freedom at the same time. So can we keep our hips and our bellies still and stable at the same time as allowing the release of the leg forwards? And the weight of the leg is going to be the challenge to our abdominals. We've got another 5 seconds here. So this is called a single leg toe tap. I like to use an exhale on the way out and inhale in. We've got 1 more of these. Check that you're even on both sides. And then holding on to the back of the thighs, lift up head, neck and shoulders. And your option here is to stay here or extend your arms out. We're just going to pump the arms for 20. So we're on 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We take a little release. We're going to do that 1 more time. If you're feeling really energetic, you might want to have your legs a little bit further out or a little bit lower down, but without changing the setup of your belly. So if your 6-pack muscles start to pop out, you might have gone a little bit too far. All right, let's come back in. Inhale to prepare. We'll exhale to set up. Upper body flexion, curling upwards. And 20. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and relax. You'll notice that I took my legs out and then brought them back in because I was like, oh, I'm actually a bit tired today. So that's always an option as well. Let's take a little rock up and down the spine now. So taking kind of just a little whoop and whoop action. And if this doesn't feel good, you can go from side to side instead. That's it. Looking beautiful. My YouTube students, last one. We count all the way up. Take a little pause, and now we'll do our roll backs again, but option this time, because we're going to make them a little bit bigger. If you do have a stretchy band, you might want to place the band around your feet, because that can, I don't know, it just gives you like a little bit, it takes the pressure off some things and allows you to feel other things more. You'll see what I mean if you have the stretchy band. Inhale to sit tall, otherwise you just look exactly the same as this but without the stretchy band. Exhale to start rolling through the spine, tucking the tail underneath. We're going to get a little bit further this time. And then we'll inhale to come up towards the seated position, option to stay curled or option to sit tall. And again, inhale, exhale, we roll. Thinking about kind of moving those sit bones away from us. Maybe we get a little bit further again towards a point of challenge and then curling back. But as we curl all the way up, I'm thinking about the navel drawing towards the spine. Inhaling, maybe to sit tall, maybe you can send the legs out. Exhale, we roll down. This time we're going to come all the way down. Inhale at the bottom and exhale again. It's this action of really sequencing through the spine, little bit by little bit. Inhale to sit tall. Exhale to roll, and we're really thinking about kind of moving that pelvis away from us all the way down. All right, last one, rolling all the way back up. Yep. All right, removing your band if you've had one. Bringing your feet slightly in, rolling like a ball, bringing the toes to touch the floor. So this is version 1. If you feel like this is where you want to stay today, then you're just going to hold this and you're going to feel that belly reaching back as if you still had a ball in your belly and you're like trying to curl over the ball. Otherwise, feet off the floor. Third variation, if you'd like. We start to inhale as we roll back, come back up into your little shape, and we come back. So you stay in that rolling ball shape the entire time. So it's the C curve. Whoops, and you'll see that I accidentally just touched my toes to the floor. So once you're in your rolling ball, you want to stay in that shape the entire time. Ooh. And I found this a little bit difficult with my back because it doesn't seem to want to soften. And it's kind of, I don't know, it's an interesting challenge. We'll do another two. And last one. Ooh. And we pause there, feet away from the floor. Maybe we take the ball away if we had one in between the thighs. Option to hold the legs there, option to hold the back of the legs and see if we can kind of maybe wiggle our feet around, wiggle the ankles around, and then cross the ankles. We'll fold forwards into an all fours position. So hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, sliding gently backwards and thinking about your sit bones widening, your bum getting bigger, and then sliding slightly forwards towards the shoulders, or towards the wrist, sorry, and we'll do that a few more times. So little kind of almost close of the sit bones and then an opening of the sit bones. I quite like to make this actually like a little bit longer stance, so I have further to tilt forward, so I'm almost coming into a modified plank and then back into almost a child's pose. Another two here. Last one, pausing, bringing the hands underneath the torso more or less. Inhale, lengthening the belly, and then exhale, pushing the spine away, rounding the back. Three more of these. Inhale. So instead of thinking about dropping or sinking the lower back, think about lengthening and stretching the belly. And then we push to round, and here I'm thinking about doming the upper back, tucking the tail underneath, trying to include every single part of the spine. One more time. So we're pulling the chest slightly forwards, lengthening the belly and lengthening the lower back as much as is possible in this position. Last one, we find that big, big rounded space, and then we'll shift back, tuck the feet, the ankles, sorry, and then cross the legs in front of us. And I say cross the legs, what I really am looking for here is the crossing of the shins. Hands on the front of the thighs. Cat-cows, but in a seated position. So we inhale, I'm almost kind of pulling the knees towards me as I lift the chest. And then as I exhale, push the ground away, squeeze your sit bones together. You can sort of think about squeezing your butt cheeks. And then again, we inhale to lift the chest. And then exhale. And inhale. Little lift. Last one, exhale. So I'm rounding that tail underneath me, rounding, scooping, inhale to sit tall, taking both arms up towards the ceiling, gliding the shoulders upwards. Take your right arm, hope this is your right arm, could be your left arm, out to the side. Take a little lean across to the side, probably whatever arm, lean across to the side and feel the side of the waist stretching, that is long, so the side that's not next to the ground. And then draw your top shoulder blade back towards the spine and see if you can slightly have the sense of opening through the front of the chest. So you're drawing that elbow back, and then we'll curl and wrap towards the ground. So this is my top left arm, so I'm not mirroring. So my top left arm is going to wrap towards the ground, and then inhale to open up. Let's do that a few more times as if you're swishing or swooshing, as I like to say, a cloak. So you're swishing and swooshing that cloak. Last one, reach the hand all the way up to the ceiling, then reach it all the way across, softening into your right forearm, the forearm that's down on the ground. Bringing the body round and forwards, coming up to a seated position, same thing on the other side. So we take our other hand out, which is my left hand. Maybe it's your left hand too, and then we'll take the right hand up to the ceiling. The right hand side of the waist is stretching this time. Let your shoulder come all the way up to the ear so you can fully stretch that line of connective tissue. That's it, good. And this bottom shoulder is wrapping back. So I'm thinking about left shoulder blade, bottom shoulder blade pulling towards the spine slightly. Then we start to pull our top elbow back, opening up the chest as if you're doing like a little row. If you were in a kind of a weights class, you could be further up also. And we're opening or stretching the chest at the front of the body, and then roll and wrap that arm down. And let's do that kind of 3 or 4 more times. Inhale to open. Exhale, use your breath. Sweep that cloak of arm and back muscle. Thinking about open up the space in between the rib cage. I'm getting carried away now. Last one. Lift the arm towards the ceiling, and then lean a little bit more into your, kind of like dropping into that left arm, that bottom arm. Reach, 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 reach. And then bringing both hands forwards over the legs. We'll stay forwards for a moment. Maybe you're on your fingertips to support the spine in this little forward motion. And then pushing the fingertips down into the ground. Start to rebuild your spine back on top of your pelvis. We'll inhale to sit tall, and we're all done. So hopefully you enjoyed that little movement stack. It was just a little bit of core work, a little bit of mobility. Really nice way to start the day or end the day, or a little movement snack in the middle. Thank you so much for joining me, and hope to see you soon on the mat.